train service that will be coming in through the station. There will be a bus loading facility to the right of the map there, next to the train exhibit and station buildings. So there will be room
MST
for
buses, or
there will be room for MST buses as well as Greyhound, which is serving the station today, and Amtrak Thruway buses that often meet the Starlight, and also other trains across the state. Actually, the Amtrak Thruway buses come through here more often than just the Starlight. And then we will also be able to use that bus facility for school buses as well, which come to visit the Harvey Baker House. So it's going to be a very well-utilized little bus center right there.
Right.
And then we also have bicycle storage and bike lanes throughout the road improvements there. Lincoln Avenue and the Salinas station in general is the end point for the Monterey Marina to Salinas multimodal corridor as well. So we're going to be linked into that transit corridor also.
And I want to take a second here because we say this internally. We always say multimodal, multimodal.
Yes.
But for the general public out there, what does that mean?
It means that there will be a corridor that is built as a complete street for cars and buses and bicycles and all users and all modes.
Right. So all modes of transportation.
Yes.
So thank you for that, because a lot of times people are like, what are they talking about?
Right. Didn't mean to use code word.
Yeah, exactly. So Alan, talk about why this project is so critical to the plans of what the city of Salinas is doing.
Well, it not only improves the traffic right into and out of the intermodal center, but I think it's a key part of improvements throughout the downtown. The downtown property owners and other stakeholders in the downtown got together several years ago and said, hey, we need to look at a comprehensive way to bring people downtown, places for them to park, convenient ways for them to get around, because for decades now people have been confused by the one-way couplet, we call it, in the downtown, where you have a very wide one-way street heading north, a very wide one-way street heading south. And there are better ways to have people get to their destination, and what it's created is that couplet has created really a barrier to getting into and out of the downtown if you want to be someplace there. So that's an opportunity for us to look at parking, circulation, and in particular to anticipate a lot more growth in the downtown.
Right.
I think people's ideas are that, and this is in the downtown vibrancy plan, that for a vibrant and energetic downtown, you need a variety of businesses, but you also need a variety of uses. So with the intermodal center, if you're living downtown, then you'll have a convenient way to get to where you need to go without having to get in a car.
Right. And really, that's kind of, I started the program by talking about congestion, but that really is what the focus is to give folks more alternatives, right?
Right, yeah, and the vibrancy plan is focused on pedestrian and bicycles as well as cars. It's not just about how cars move around downtown, but it's also about how people move around.
Right.
And so it talks a lot about, how businesses can benefit from having a more holistic look at how people move.
Right. And businesses benefit from that.
Yes.
I mean, all of us have been in some town. We can name a town around here that you love to walk in or to bike in, because it's a pleasant experience, and then of course you're going to go and stop and do other things besides just walk or bike through a community. So Christina, where does this project stand in terms of state support, and what's happening with that?
Well, it's funded almost entirely with state funding. So the state has shown its support for rail service to Monterey County since the 1990s with dedicating funding sources towards the planning efforts and now towards the construction of the station in Salinas. And they're also supporting us with the rail plan that's under development right now and should come out any day, the statewide rail plan. And so that shows that the city of Salinas will be a hub with their rail network statewide, and
Right.
Salinas will be one of the hubs, which is very exciting.
That is totally
Yeah.
exciting. And so I heard you say 1990s. And so, so for people out there who think, and Alan kind of smiled because he can relate to this.
Yes.
To people who are out there and they think, this all sounds wonderful, but my God, it takes forever for stuff to happen.
Yeah.
What do you say to them about this is definitely happening, and it's happening soon because of obviously the timeline that we're
Yeah,
looking
it's
at.
true. These kinds of major infrastructure projects take a long time to plan. There's a lot of rules about environmental analysis and public outreach that we want to make sure everybody's feedback is taken into account through the process of planning the project and designing the project. So that those phases of work take a lot longer than people realize
Right.
that or think they should, maybe sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah. So it takes time to do that and to assemble the funds. And in the case of this project, we're looking to coordinate with an outside provider of service. And we're sort of, peripheral to that agency's core mission. So we need to get into their conversation and into their planning process as well.
Right.
And that takes time too. So
Right, and
there's
that
a lot
sort of went to what you said. There were some things that are a little bit out of our control.
That's right.
That we have to work through the process. So, Alan, what do you want to add to this?
Well, taking a long-term perspective, because I did work for the city for a long time, and I think you need to celebrate the small as well as the big, the little victories here and there that add up to a lot of activity and a lot of success in the downtown. And we've seen that over the years. When I first came to Salinas in 1980, the 100 block of Main Street was considered Skid Row.
Yeah.
And so through the redevelopment agency, working with private property owners and businesses and other agencies, that's turned around, but it takes time. And so when something big happens, like the movie theaters, the Taylor building, and even some of the smaller stuff that I think TAMSI has been a really good partner with the city for the intermodal station, in particular helping to fix up some of the old buildings that are there. The first mayor's house, the train station is newly revitalized with quite a bit of grant money that TAMSI was helped a great deal in securing. So it looks like a completely different place than it was even 5 or 10 years ago.
That's true. The freight building also is one of
freight
those
building,
buildings that has
exactly.
been completely different in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So that speaks to the vibrancy issue that you talked about. I mean, it is about this is our community. Do you want to live here? Do you want to be able to walk down a street or go visit something? I mean, it's a part of who we are as a community, and collectively, what can we do to make it better, right?
Exactly, and I think the heart and soul of Salinas really is in the downtown. It's where Salinas started, and there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of great buildings. You're never going to replicate that feeling of community anyplace else. So I think it's an opportunity for the entire community to embrace what's going on, to come down and see the improvements and enjoy the experience of being in the downtown.
Christina, what do you enjoy as a planner? As somebody who is working on a project that's going to have a lasting impact. What's your feelings on that, to be able to bring something to fruition like this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Alan that it's good to celebrate the small victories, but I also like to look at the big picture and say we're going to be transforming not just Salinas but Monterey County by providing this new way of traveling around
Right.
the whole state. So it's daunting, but it's also very exciting.
It is exciting. It's truly exciting. So let's vent for a second. What's frustrating? Because you've talked about the exciting. What's frustrating? Anything?
Well, part of what's frustrating is that there are several elements of the project that are outside our control, and yet we're held responsible for the project. So
Yes.
it's one of those things where you're like, well, we're trying our best. We're going to do what we can do, what we have the control of, and we're going to move forward with that element of the project and continue to work with our partners to try to make sure that the rest of it all falls into place when
Exactly.
we are ready for it too.
You carry a lot on your shoulders.
Yes. Yes.
All right, I want to put the map up one more time. We have about 2 minutes left. I'm going to
Okay.
put the map up, and I want you again to remind people what the time frame is, and then if they have any questions, they can certainly go to our website. So this is the overall map that we
Yes.
started with.
Right,
But-
so the overall map includes a dotted red line that shows the extension of service. So we're looking at a long term of it being the Capital Corridor providing 6 round trips to Salinas. In the near term, it could be either Capital Corridor or Caltrain, and we're hoping for that service to start in 2020. And I think the other map has the timeline
Yes,
on
we
it.
can put the other, there you
There
go.
we go. Yeah, so the timeline is on the bottom of this map.
Okay, so we're mid 2017, and the hope is in fact the plan is to start construction.
Yes.
At least hopefully by
At least on the
first.
first phase of the improvements at the Salinas station, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I want to thank both of you for being here today because it is an exciting project. You know, I sort of started the conversation that way. But the idea, again, is to be able to give people options where they can move around the county, move in and out of the county, and have some alternatives to sitting in a car being stuck. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, and you know, not having to be in the car has a lot of benefits. If you're on a train, you can be reading a book, you can be working. The trains have Wi-Fi. You can be watching a movie or something.
Or
you know,
just
just
not
worrying about
driving.
road
Yeah.
rage. You can take a nap. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. So there are a lot of benefits to that.
Yeah, I think overall it just shows that Salinas has a bright future. The county has a bright future with these kinds of initiatives going. We'll be obviously we're competing with the Bay Area for
Yes.
businesses, for different types of activities, economic activities that are going on, and Salinas needs to have Monterey County needs to have a way to get in and out of the county efficiently and easily.
And we end on that note. I want to thank you both for
Okay.
being here. Really do appreciate it. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you next
Teresa.
week.